Giants Extra Point is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giants fans. Hackensack Meridian Health keep getting better. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. And by Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Giants hold on, shut out the Lions in the second half. They defeat Detroit 14-3 behind a pair of goal line stances, 155 rushing yards on the ground. Giants win their first preseason game of 2024, 14-3. John Schmeelk and Jonathan Casillas atop MetLife Stadium. JC, always good to start the preseason with the victory. From a player's perspective, I know the game doesn't count in the standings, but it's got to feel good to walk off the field for the first time. You're playing in a real football game. I'm using fake air quotation marks here with a W.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely there's one locker room that's happy and there's one locker room that's not. There's always wins and there's losses. Even if they don't count, they still matter a lot. And it mattered for a lot of guys today. We saw a lot of people put some good stuff on film today.
Today's game breakdown is brought to you by our local Ford stores. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford, official truck of the Giants. We'll be listening downstairs for when we'll have Brian Dable at the podium. We'll get to that when he is ready. But for now, JC, who were some of those guys that stuck out for you in tonight's game?
Well, I think you got to start off with Eric Gray. I think his performance today really spoke volumes. Last year he was a little, slow, and, the amount of touches that he had, the amount of reps that he got to participate in last year. He had a couple of fumbles, the muff with the punts and stuff. I think he had a great showing today. He showed that explosiveness and that bink that I talked about earlier, like he showed in college. And he had a great day today. I think Tommy DeVito had a great first half. And then you saw the defensive guys, wow. Darian Beavers, he ended up covering the play that was over here in the end zone. That was a throwback to the tight end. He caught that tight end on a throwback that's usually wide open, and that's what gave the Giants a sack. So I saw a lot of young defensive players step up and have some pretty good games today.
No question about it. And you want to see some of these guys on defense step up. You mentioned Beavers. How about Ben Whitley? He was in the backfield a lot, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He got called for a face mask. I don't think that face mask was on him on the play when you looked at the replay. I thought it was on Casey Rogers. Another guy that stepped up late, you had Ogie Ogofu on that batted pass at the line to prevent what could have been a touchdown pass towards the sideline that Hendon Hooker threw.
Got in there on a sack.
He got in there on a sack, and that's after Boogie Basham flushed the quarterback on, I think, 2 times on one play. He missed 2 potential sack opportunities.
And it's exactly what I said at halftime. Who was going to step up and put the pressure on the quarterbacks, because the Detroit Lions have to do something in the passing game to come back. And you saw the guys show up. And I like that. You want to see these guys when the game gets into a certain situation. The Giants did really good in situational football in 2022. 2023, they took a step back. Now they're put in their first type of situation, and I think they did pretty well tonight.
And 2 big strengths of Shane Bowen's defense, the run defense. You mentioned that in the pregame. Their red zone defense has also been one of the best units in the league, so they hope to carry that over to the Giants in 2024. Let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll hope to get Brian Dable at the podium right here on Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
Back here on Giants Extra Point, when we hear from Brian Dable, his press conference will be brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. And JC, Brian Dable, when we had the production meeting with him this morning, he was joking about how he was going to approach this game. We knew it was going to be a pretty simplistic game plan. And I think based on what we saw in the passing game, there wasn't anything overly complicated in what we saw. But he also said, my competitiveness is probably going to get the best of me at some point. And he talked about how against Detroit in practice this week, they started calling some blitzes, and he basically dumped his game script and just started calling stuff just because he didn't want the blitzes to kill what they were trying to do. And for a guy that is so competitive, he's got to be feeling pretty good here to get off the season on the right foot.
Yeah, I got some notes from earlier. He said, old school feel, I formation, simple task. I didn't see too much eye later in the games. I saw it early, but not later in the game.
A lot of blocking. He basically, for a game like this, you want to see blocking and tackling.
Because you don't want the guys thinking too much. You want to see how they actually are performing, how they are blocking, how they're tackling. And that's one thing. I think tackling today was very good. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't remember, other than Eric Gray almost breaking a dude's ankles. I don't remember many poor tackles from either team, to be totally honest with you.
100%. I thought they did a good job, both teams, in tackling, especially the New York Giants. I felt like they were downhill. That's what we were talking about, the linebackers earlier. Johnson played in the backfield the whole game. 54, he had a great game.
Unfortunately, he left with an injury in the second half, so hopefully he's going to be okay.
Yeah, hopefully so, because he's been having a good camp so far.
He has been. Darius Musa found himself in the backfield a little bit too. The Giants rookie linebacker out of UCLA. We had Trey Hawkins had a pass breakup down the field. Tyler Nubin in the first half there was a play where he took on a pulling guard, JC, and just completely stunned him, forced a cutback. I think Jordan Riley ended up with the tackle for loss, if memory serves. But Tyler Nubin, who is trying to catch up after missing the first week of camp with a calf injury. Brian Daboll's, basically told us that he needs to kind of, keep going, keep working. He's a smart kid, but he's catching up.
Yeah,
it happens when you miss a week.
Second round draft pick.
Yep.
He was the number one safety off the board. The Giants had him ranked very high for a reason. The kid's been making plays. He looked great today, and I think he has that leadership presence even as a rookie.
And the toughness.
Absolutely. We're going to see him a lot this year, I believe.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah.
The safety battle between him and Dave Belton, I think, is going to go into the very end of the preseason to see which one of those guys can claim that spot. Giants football is brought to you by Verizon, the official 5G network of the New York Giants. Verizon, America's most reliable network. Let's take another timeout. Hopefully we'll have Brian Daboll ready to go when we come back right after this.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
Inches away from the goal line. Ball in the right hash. DeVito under center. Gray is the lone back. Takes the snap. Give to Gray. Sails right through the middle of the line into the end zone. It's a touchdown. The second rushing touchdown of the night for Eric Gray.
That touchdown by Eric Gray was the culmination of the scoring drive of the game, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giant fans. They gave the Giants a 14-3 lead, a 4-play, 37-yard drive, JC, where that wasn't the only play Eric Gray made on that drive.
Yeah, the first play was a screen, 13-yard catch to him. And look, that pass that Tommy DeVito threw, that's a difficult throw to make right there.
Brian Daboll is downstairs at the podium. Let's listen to the coach.
Rookie year to now with Gray and DeVito.
Eric Gray and Tommy. Yeah, two guys that do the right thing on and off the field. Where Tommy came from, rookie camp to where he was playing last year to understanding a lot of the nuances of our offense. I think he's made strides. And I thought Gray's kind of got stronger as camp went on. So made a couple nice plays tonight. Two young players, keep developing them.
Brian, how's Drew Lock? He came out and said he had a hip injury.
Yeah, he's sore.
How about Dante Johnson?
Same. He was going to come back. He was talking about, I think he got an ankle. But injury-wise, I don't have any update. I haven't met with Ronnie or anything like that. So see how it goes.
Sorry, you guys are confident that injuries would be fine here long term then?
Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow. But I don't foresee it being a long time.
Dave, so was that about Locke? I'm sorry.
It was about Locke, yeah.
How did you feel like the offense did when Drew was in there?
Yeah, again, some good things, some things to clean up in all areas. The thing I was proud of was controlled the line of scrimmage, ran the football, which you need to do. We almost had weather every game we played here last year, so it was good to get weather tonight. Went backwards some on a few holding penalties, but had some lanes, ran hard, blocked force. It was going to be an emphasis tonight to be able to run the football, regardless if it was raining or not. Defensively, I thought did a good job. Stopped him, I think, on 4 fourth downs, 0 for 3 in the red zone. Thought Shane was really good. Just being the first time with him, very composed, got the play in quickly, good communicator with the signal callers, and I'd say same thing with Goby, very organized. They did a nice job creating, field position for the first time out there. But the procedure, I was pleased with the procedure of the coaching staff and of the players.
When you called plays in Buffalo, Brian, were you in the booth or were you on the field?
I did both. I've been on the field and in the booth as a play caller. I've done both. It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Like riding a bike?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to score on every possession as an offensive play caller. But again, I'm proud of we established a line of scrimmage. We're going to need to do that throughout the season. Some things you always want back, but communication, thought the coaches did a great job. You know, I'm back over to the defense. I give them some thoughts. They have their own thoughts. Mike had a lot of good thoughts tonight. But the communication, that's good. I was happy with the communication from the staff. You know, having Carm, having TK, having Joel for the first time out there, then listening to the defensive guys, listening to the special teams guys. You know, I was happy with the communication aspect of it, of all those guys.
How much different is it, though? Because obviously when you're an offensive coordinator, when the defense on the field,
It wasn't different, other than calling plays during offense. I was on the defensive side of the ball. When they were calling defense, I was talking to special teams.
different than when you're OC?
Different than an OC. Sorry, yeah, sorry, I thought you meant last year. Yeah, I mean, other than you go and listen to the defensive calls or give them reminders, hey, be alert here, possible hard count. We're going to go for it if we get fourth, whatever it may be. But other than that, not a whole bunch.
Brian, the deployment of some of you guys, you know, the starters on defense did not play other than Dante. You just wanted to get him some reps, Dante Banks?
Yeah. Flott would have played, but he had a quad. See how he is. The young defensive backs, really, Nick's had a lot of experience. He's played a lot on special teams. We want to see some of these younger guys too. But yeah, we played Banks. I foresee guys. We'll see where we're at. It's whatever it is when we play Houston. But playing a little bit here, come up.
What, Neighbors out there?
Yeah, he's a rookie.
I thought that was just valuable for him to get out there tonight.
Yeah, all the rookies played. Most all the second-year guys played.
Dave, think he's a little banged up in class?
No, he's okay. We're just making sure we take care of him. He's got a lot of running. Again, that was more of an individual plan. Plus, he's played a lot for us in the kicking game, and we gave him the night off.
It looked like Malik, in his first round, it looked like there was something there.
Yeah, Drew thought he saw something with the safety coming down on the tight end, so he didn't pull the trigger. He thought the guy was running out underneath him, so he was trying to make a smart decision.
On a lighter note, your play calling tent seems to get a lot of attention. Have you used something like that before? The tent you use to shield the rain from your play sheet?
No, it was coming down, and I didn't. I don't like the laminated ones, so I put a little cover on it.
Why don't you like the laminated? You like to write on it?
Yeah. We have another sheet that's waterproof, but I guess I like the paper cardboard. So.
What impressed you about Tommy tonight?
Tommy, he's getting better. I think he's got firm control of the offense. I think the guys have a lot of confidence in him. I have confidence in him. He's really come a long way since he's been here. It was good for him to play as much as he did. So keep on developing him. Quarterbacks are hard to find in this league. Undrafted, free agent, won 3 games, played in some games last year for us. Still knows he's a long way to go, but smart, accurate, makes good decisions. Good young player to work with.
What do you think of the way they're practicing testing first downs with the laser instead of the chains out there? And does it delay the game, or it seems no?
Yeah, whatever it is, whether they're holding it, running out, or doing whatever it is, it's fine.
When the defense is on the field and you're sitting there writing on your play sheet, is that based on just your own thoughts, or is that stuff Mike's relaying down? I'm just curious how that process works.
Yeah, so as soon as they come off, you're always communicating, Dan, throughout the series too, like, hey, write down number 25, watch this safety, what he's doing, or go to this, or what's the backside end doing, or how their double team's going. So you're communicating through the series. They come off. I might say, hey, I'm thinking about these 3 plays on the next series. You guys talk about it. If there's something that you want to see or you think is good as you watch. Tonight you were able to watch it on the tablets. So that was the one game where you can watch basically the game. So those guys communicate. They give it to me, some of the things that they like to see. I kind of have a feel as I'm watching the game of what's going on. But it was really good communication. Mike kind of heads that all up. Get back on with them in between, but I got a pretty good sense of what I want to get to based on what I'm seeing during the series.
Dave, with Gray, obviously last year his rookie experience was difficult for him. He gets hurt. Didn't seem like he was ever in a comfort zone.
the process to get him back to where he is tonight, and obviously running the football. Did you have to build back his confidence at all from last year to this year? I mean, it was much talked about, or because he's getting more of an opportunity to run the football, it's really not?
Yeah, new season. I think everybody has more confidence when you go through a season as a rookie. Just expectations, all the things that go along with it, knowing the offense. So, it was good to see him make a few plays out there tonight, but that's, let's start with the offensive line. Creating holes. He had some good runs in open space, made a couple good plays on screen plays, but collective effort, we're going to have to continue to try to do that and establish a run game, a physical team, a variety of run schemes. That's something that's important to me as a play caller. I think it's important to our team to be physical, to be able to do that, and running backs will get plenty of opportunity. You don't get a ton of that, during training camp practices. This guy was free in the hole, it would have been a 2-yard loss. Well, I mean, really nobody knows until you're out here tackling, or it was going to be a sack. It wasn't a sack. That's why these games are so valuable. Yeah, I'll go back and I can't give you an evaluation on all these guys. We'll go back, we'll look at it. I'm sure there's stuff to correct, but just the overall standard of which they played with, stopping them down there in the red zone a few times, the level of energy that they had, tackling. We had that pick, unfortunately. They got it back from us. It will be a good learning experience. I thought we played physical, and that's something that, we want to try to be as a physical football team in all three areas.
Did you learn anything about the new kickoff rule?
No, I mean, we'll go back, we'll look at it. Again, I think that'll be a work in progress. But I was pleased with special teams tonight, just the organization of it, the way they played, physical, kicking the ball, the gunners. Again, we need to be a physical team.
Dave, that's a couple more. Dave, is that something that you want to do this whole season, heading into camp, you want to be a little bit more physical team?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we brought guys in that have some toughness, young players and some veteran players, and again, it's a physical sport, mental and physical. So, being mentally tough, being physically tough, I think you got to train that. You do that in training camp. It's also the type of individuals you bring in. I think Gobi does a great job with that. I think Shane does a great job with that. The new coaches we brought in. So we're a work in progress, but we're going to try to be physical.
Dave, I gather you're pretty happy with the team. The two joint scrimmages, the way they brought the physicality and out tonight. It's sort of kind of like meeting what you want.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're work in progress. So we've got a long way to go, but the style in which I expect us to play is a physical brand of football. Was it always perfect? No, but the effort, the attention to detail, the concentration, the focus on the sideline, the communication from the coaches, the chemistry together, that's what you're trying to build. We're not there yet, but we're certainly trying to build it.
I'm sorry that I missed what you said
okay.
about Flott. Sorry about
Flott, he had a quad towards the end of last practice, so he would have played if he was able to play. That's why I think someone noticed McLeod out there. Was it you? Noticed McLeod out there? Yeah. So that was because of Flott had a little bit of a quad.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
The coach's press conference is brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Did I hear that Tommy DeVito is going to take the podium there? If he is, let me know. I will not go to break yet if we're going to get Tommy DeVito. Before we take a little break here. In the meantime, Giants TV, presented by Bob's Discount Furniture, is the official connected TV app of the New York Giants. Available for free now on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and inside the Giants mobile app. Stream game highlights, interviews, TV shows, and more exclusive video content with Giants TV. JC, just in case you get Tommy here, I want to just do a quick discussion with you in terms of what was said. And now we do have Tommy DeVito at the podium, I'm told. Griffin, do we have Tommy DeVito up? Do we have Tommy DeVito at the podium to go to? I'm told he is there. Let's listen in to Tommy DeVito talking downstairs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy standing here right now knowing the whole year has passed. My thoughts going into preseason are a little different now. Last year was a little bit of nerves and, first NFL game, so there's a lot of excitement that went into it, but now I know kind of get the gist of it. Played in some actual games that are a little different from preseason, but, treat every game like it's a Super Bowl, right? So you go out there and try to play everything the best foot forward. For me, trying to avoid sacks, get out of negative plays, Had really two negatives plays in my head today that I want to get back. One was a sack. The other one was sliding on third down. I got down early. That was pretty bad. I told Dave's, give me the rock so I can make it right. So we ended up converting on that 4th and 1. So that was it with those two. But, yeah, really just trying to eliminate a lot of the negatives and keep the offense on pace moving forward to score points.
Do you think you made a case for yourself tonight?
Every day is a step in the right direction. Try to build off it every single time I go out in the field and have the opportunity to be out in the field. Obviously, like I said before, I had a couple that I've noticed from now, but I'm sure when I watch the film, there's going to be a couple more things that I want to correct and get back. But continuing to try to use these upcoming 2 more games to put my best foot forward.
Did you get the cheer for you when you trotted out?
I did, yeah. I love it. I appreciate all the fans for that. It's a lot of support. It means a lot to me.
You looked very comfortable. How did you feel?
I felt great. O-line did a great job. Running backs did a good job in protection, good job getting out. If they were playing a lot of prevent, they only played a couple coverages. A lot of it was trying to take away deeper passes, so the running backs did a good job being able to check the protection and get out as well with it. So it's a big step up from last year. It's kind of been a big emphasis. But yeah, the O-line did a great job. I felt very comfortable.
So your mindset this year is different than it was a year ago?
For sure.
Could you elaborate on that?
Like the whole thing that I just said? I mean, I've been in here for a year. It's not my first NFL game anymore. I mean, that's really what it was. I knew I've gotten hit in the NFL before. I've played, I've won, I've lost. I've kind of dealt with a lot in the past year, so I felt comfortable being in the situation again today.
So when Locke goes out and you come in a little earlier probably than expected, didn't flinch, nothing?
I mean, no. I mean, backup job's pretty tough. It happened a couple times last year. It's happened in my career prior in high school, college, whatever it may be. But yeah, to be in the situation that it was last year, where you have to always be ready to go, even if, like you said, it was a little bit sooner than I anticipated. Regardless, when they tell you it's your turn to go, you got to go.
Tommy, how much does it help? In preseason, there's no game planning or things like that. How much did it help to scrimmage against Detroit this week and then play them for real?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, it's a little different. In practice, you get some more exotic looks, some crazier things. Like, same thing with us. We run some different plays, and then we get out here, it's a little bit more vanilla, if you will. But, yeah, to be able to go against them, see what their personnel is like, how they play certain things, it's definitely beneficial. But, sometimes it's paralysis by analysis. It's like just go out there and play.
How was your communication different with Dable tonight with him being the play caller than last season?
It was very good. I mean, me and him, as you guys know, used to have those meetings once a week when I was on practice squad, and then as time went up, we used to have meetings. So our communication from then to now has built up. So when he calls a play, I know what he's thinking. Like it's very good, clean communication between me and directly with the head coach and whoever's calling the play. So everything was really good tonight, and we're going to continue to build off it.
The touchdown drive, the 24-yard swing pass to Eric, and then what'd you think of his move on the touchdown run?
Man, that boy's been in the lab working. I mean, anytime our backs get up to the second level, you usually see me standing back there like this. Even when Turbo hit a crease on one of them, I saw him bend the corner. I was like, ugh. They have that ability, and they've all done such a great job. But yeah, Eric especially, to have that screen go, and then all of a sudden to get up to that second level, make a miss, and I was like, this dude better not get caught, and he did not. And yeah, he had a tremendous game. I'm looking forward to see him roll more.
I know you're a young guy also, but have you kind of seen Eric blossom a little bit, if that's the
Yeah,
word
for
I
sure.
can
Yeah, I
use?
mean, same situation. I feel for my rookie class as it was. We all came in together. There was a million things thrown at us at once, especially with him in his situation where he was getting some playing time early, especially on special teams. So there's a lot going on in your head. So to have that 1 year under your belt and to have ups and downs and everything, that'll just make him a better player as well as myself and everybody else, I'm sure, moving forward. So I'm sure he was very comfortable going into this game more than he was last year. I don't want to speak for him. That's how I was, but I assume it's probably similar.
Tommy, you played a lot of football in your life so far. Are there things that you learned from last year to this year in terms of watching film and studying film that you didn't know before?
Yeah, there's so many little intricacies. Basically, the biggest difference is the hashes and defenses. Like in high school and college, the hashes are really wide, so you can only get away with doing a certain amount of things. In the NFL, everything's so much tighter, so a lot of it can look similar. There's not so much of a boundary as there is in college or high school, if you will. So that makes the biggest difference for defenses. So really just learning how defenders like cover two in high school or college used to be all the way because they have so much field to cover because of the hashes. And obviously in the NFL it's a little different. So just small things like that as far as alignments, and really that's all it is week to week.
Dibble said before you came in, we should ask you about the 4th and 1. You were referring about sliding.
Yeah, that's what that was about. He kind of gave me a heads up as I was walking in here. I was like, yeah, I was probably gonna hit it anyways. It's like, yeah, I messed that 3rd down up pretty bad. Slid early, should not have slid, knowing where the sticks are. But I told him as soon as he was kind of getting after me after that. I was like, dude, just give me the quarterback sneak. I'm gonna make it right. He's like, you better get that yard. I was like, I got it. Leaned on my offensive lineman. We got it to convert to get back to 1st down, but should have never came to that. I should have handled that in the beginning. But knocking some rust off, that's good. I'm happy it happened right now than any other time. So.
Is that something that will be repeated in film session to slow it down and reinforce that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna hit me on a couple times. Like, I'm sure Shea will turn around and be like, "Are you good on this now?" Like, yes. Dive head first, or just run the dude over or something, or make a miss. But yeah, I'll be good moving forward.
Are you just different after the experience last year? Like, just more confident, more sure of yourself, that kind of thing?
I think I've always been pretty confident. I think that's kind of always how I've carried myself. But yeah, it certainly helps when you've been in the situation and you've won a couple games or been playing in like a real game atmosphere. That definitely helps.
After the Drew injury, did Davis come up to you and say, "Don't worry, we're taking a penalty"?
I mean, no. I was out there. I was like, "All right, we're rolling." And then he started calling plays. Like, actually, no, we're gonna do this. And then we ended up taking it. But yeah, I mean, I was ready to roll.
Last one, there is one. Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks,
Appreciate you guys.
The player press conferences are brought to you by MetLife, the official insurance company of the New York Giants. Folks, I wish you could be in the booth with me here and watch Jonathan Casillas react to Tommy DeVito's press conferences. It's a show. It amuses me greatly. I wish I could describe it, but it's funny. JC loves his jersey, guys. We'll talk about that and more when we return, and maybe try to squeeze in a couple of your calls at 888-808-1019 right here on Giants Extra Point.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Kayvon Thibodeau, and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN and WFAN-FM, New York.
Going to go for it on 4th and goal to 3. 3 receivers spread to the left. Peoples, Jones in a slot to the right. Snap back to Hooker. Throws to the near side. It's broken up. Deflected. Knocked down. Incomplete. And the Giants take over on downs.
That was tonight's Play of the Game, brought to you by your local Ford stores. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford, official truck of the Giants. Schmeelk Casillas with you. Giants defeat the Lions in their first preseason game of 2024, 14-3. We just heard from Brian Dable and Tommy DeVito and JC. Let's touch on the defense since we just heard that 4th down stop in quarter number 4. One of 4 4th down stops for the Giants in this game. And you heard Brian Dable say very kind words about Shane Bowen. Loved how he communicated, how he was composed on the sideline, how quickly the play got in. He just seemed to like his whole manner and demeanor running the defense from the sideline.
Yeah, absolutely, and he said it. He said they play physical, and that's what we talked about at halftime. The Giants, they exerted their dominance today against a very physical NFC team. The Detroit Lions are known for their toughness with this, with Campbell as their head coach. And the Giants took it to him today. I saw one of the coaches from the Lions in the hallway just now, walking up just now, like early, right before the show started, and he said, y'all beat our today. The coaches said that. It's easy to see when you're up here. You can see it. You can feel it. And the Giants put that physical presence out from the first play of the game all the way through the 4th quarter.
And a big reason they were able to show that was their ability to run the football.
Absolutely.
Jonathan, 155 rushing yards on the ground. Brian Dable said that was going to be a big part of the game plan. We talked about the fundamentals, blocking, tackling, running. Those are things you can't really work in practice every day, specifically the running the ball, avoiding tackles, things like that. You can only get a feel for that in game situations, and the Giants certainly ran the ball today. Today's statistics are brought to you by the Archdiocese of New York. Learn more at cardinalsappeal.org. Dante Miller, 12 rushes, 63 yards. Eric Gray, 4 for 52. Tyrone Tracy, 5 for 26. The quarterbacks had a couple of runs in there as well. All 3 running backs, JC, did a really nice job.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about Turbo at halftime, and he came in and did his thing at the end of the game. One big play of 19 yards, but consistently getting the ball, moving forward, moving the chains, And that's what you need. You need guys that's going to get that ball and be secure and get that first down, get that 2, 3, 4 yards sometimes, and then bust a big one like we saw from all the backs today.
Columbia's own Dante Turbo Miller had a chance to talk to reporters in the locker room, and the first question came from our very own Paul Dottino. Let's listen in.
With Dante Miller, Little Turbo, formerly out of Columbia, this had to be a heck of a thrill for you to wear a Giants uniform and do what you did run the ball tonight.
Yeah, man, it was a great feeling. My first NFL game, and it was a blessing to be out there with my teammates. And I wouldn't change anything for the world. It was amazing.
You ran for over 60 yards and really seemed to have some momentum. And a few times this crowd was ready to bust because you had that blazing speed.
Right. Yeah, there was a couple runs that, that one more inch, what I'm saying? But, it was otherwise, man, we got the win and everything was great. So, yeah.
How did the first pro game, even though it's a preseason game, meet your expectations?
When it comes to, the speed of the game, I was prepared, We had joint practices, we had OTAs, we had training camp and everything, so I was a lot more prepared than I even thought I would be. So when I was out there, the game speed wasn't even too much, So, Coach Davis, he does everything he does to make sure we're prepared for these type of moments. So everything that happened out there, I was already prepared for, and even more, so yeah.
What do you think you learned from your first pro game that you'll be able to use now during the rest of the preseason?
There's some things you just don't get back, so make sure, every carry that you take it with a purpose. You don't leave anything on the table. Go out there, and fight for your team. If you go out there and fight for your team, we're going to win a lot of games.
Thank you. Can you even imagine that this night would have happened, given the fact that you've been in Columbia, went to South Carolina,
it's crazy, right?
Ran into all those troubles with the NCAA, and now here you are in a pro game.
It's crazy. I'm gonna be real with you. I couldn't have. All I did was, I had blind faith. I just kept working hard and see where God was, where He would take me. And it's a blessing to be here. You know what I'm saying? Even before the game started, I was like, wow, it's crazy. I'm here. I wouldn't change anything for a thing. I wouldn't change my eligibility situation. I wouldn't change anything to be here right now.
That's Dante Miller. JC, when you have a guy with that type of sub 4.4 speed, which is what he ran at his pro day, which he did in South Carolina, for fans don't know, the reason Little Turbo Dante Miller wasn't drafted, in fact, he was actually signed as a free agent before the draft even took place. He lost his eligibility to be drafted due to some weird NCAA rules and regulations. He appealed. It didn't work out. So he basically was an undrafted free agent, but not really an undrafted free agent because he wasn't actually eligible for the draft. So long story short, the Giants ended up signing him in an unconventional way as a rookie. For a guy with that type of speed, as someone that played linebacker, what does that do to a defense?
Well, first off, I just want to talk about his voice and the appreciation and the grit that you can hear it in his voice. Like, man, it's been a long journey to get here.
He seems so happy.
Yeah, he seems so happy, and he's living his dreams, and rightfully so. But, man, listen, throughout my career, I faced some really fast backs, man, and it's a difference when you have a guy that runs a 4.5 and a guy that runs sub 4.4, 4.3. You got, a lot of linebackers, it's very hard to keep up with guys, let alone 4.5. But at 4.3, it's almost impossible. And, we've seen him in practice. I saw one of the first practice I went to, Locke hit him on like a 40-yard bomb up the field with the linebacker, yards behind him. The guy can roll, and as a defender, you have to know that because in certain things when you have coverages, you might have to take a step back. You might have to get yourself into a spot where you have to cover him, and that leaves you vulnerable to play the run because you have to cover this guy that's a lot faster than you. So he's going to be, provided a lot of disadvantages when it goes to the offense going out against any defense, really.
No question about it. The other running back was someone that a reporter asked Tommy DeVito if he's seen him blossom. Sean O'Hara would say blossom like an abacus or maybe a hibiscus, whichever one you want to go with there. And that's Eric Gray, who had nearly 100 total yards today, 4 rushes, 52 yards, also had 4 catches for 46 yards. We had a chance to talk to him down in the locker room as well. Here's Eric Gray postgame.
That guy is the same guy who beat you pretty hard.
Exactly. So it was kind of like a payback. Yeah, you want to do that? Here we go.
You knew that.
Yeah, I did see him.
Did you have a problem with that hit in practice?
Oh, for sure. It's like we're not doing that in practice. You know what I mean? But get back is you know what I'm saying.
I'm sorry I was late coming over, but just kind of how much do you feel like you needed that to kind of boost the training camp you're having? Because obviously it's a pretty
wide open running back competition.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to put my best foot forward, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I just want to be Eric Gray, just be me. You know what I mean? Like I said, last year, kind of made, making it football more than what it is. It's just football at the end of the day. So just being me.
For you guys in the running back room in general, like all you young guys, obviously, a lot of the talk in the offseason has been like, how are the Giants going to move on from Saquon Barkley?
Right.
Have you guys had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder to show like, hey, like we're young guys that can play?
Oh yeah, I think everybody, has felt like what you're saying, but I feel like everybody has done a great job of, whether you're young and learning the system or, like me, a second-year player in the system, of just being comfortable, just being yourself.
Eric, how much did it mean you be able to be part of that running game tonight as opposed to last year when you were just returning kicks? Yeah. And I'm sure you kept wanting to itch to get the ball out of the offensive formation.
Right. It felt good. That's what I do. That's my title, running back. You know what I mean? So to be out there to be able to do me, so it felt good.
What did you learn about yourself last year that makes you a better player now as you get prepared for this running back by committee situation?
That football is the same thing I've been playing since I was 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's no different. When you're young, people try to hype up. It's the NFL, it's a different league. It's the exact same game that I've been playing since I was 4.
This is what I love about the running back position, JC. Stature-wise, maybe Turbo Miller and Eric Gray aren't that different. You look at their height and weight on the roster. But their styles and skill sets are so different, yet both guys can be effective in different ways. Like if you lined up Eric Gray and Dante Miller in a race, Dante Miller would, be blowing them away like, Sha'Carri Richardson in the Olympics, just flying by people, right?
Yeah.
But if you put him through like agility drills, well, maybe I like Eric Gray better in the agility drills. You know what I mean? So it just shows how two guys can be effective in different ways. And this is, to what you said previously, this is the type, when Eric Gray was at Oklahoma, these are the type of, shiftiness that we saw in the open field where he can create space for himself.
Great feet, great balance, great vision, and he showed that today. And he sounds like a kid that possibly questioned himself last year.
Well, I mean, he had those muffs punts that those are big spotlight plays.
A game like this is great for his confidence. He just said it's just football. He might have to just prove that to himself today when he went out there and did what he did. It was like, man, this is what I normally do. It just took a year, for me to actually, bust it out. And he did it on a big stage. It's preseason, but it's still, it wasn't a packed house tonight, but it was a good crowd. They cheered for him when he scored. They cheered for him when he ran. And, they're going to show up, during the season. And hopefully he's one of those guys back there that Daniel Jones handed the ball to.
A couple other stats that I want to get to besides the running game. Tommy DeVito finished 8 of 15 for 92 yards. Drew Lock, we hear from him in next segment. He was 4 for 10 for 17 yards and a pick. Tyree Jackson, the only other receiver with more than 10 yards receiving. He had 2 catches for 34 yards, a pair of catches for Little Turbo, 2 for 7, and then a catch for Allen Robinson, Daniel Bellinger, Bryce Ford, Wheaton, and Jalen Hyatt. No one really exploding there. On the defensive side, 5 tackles for Darian Beavers, 4 for Ogie Ugufo. Michael Adams had 4 tackles. Christian Holmes, 4 tackles. Boogie Basham's 4 tackles. You had the interception for Trey Herndon. He had the return, and then he ended up fumbling that ball on the return.
Just run out of bounds.
And frankly, it's the preseason, folks. If you care about the Lion stats, you're going to have to look online. I'm not going to give them to you. I just don't think people care enough. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from Drew Lock. We'll have Graham Gano as well, talking about the new kickoff rule. I'd like to get your take on that as well when we return after this.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
Shotgun snap, delayed handoff to Gray, big hole through the middle, across the 40, makes a man miss at the 30, cuts back right 20, to the 10, looking for the end zone, he's in, it's a touchdown, 48-yard run for Eric Gray.
And he is our player of the game, a big one for him. All 3 running backs, we've heard from Dante Miller, Eric Gray, Tyrone Tracy, a good game as well, 5 rushes for 26 yards. The starting quarterback tonight for the New York Football Giants was Drew Lock. The stat line, not impressive. 4 for 10, 17 yards and an interception. He did also leave the game with a hip injury. Joe Shane was on TV with Bob Papa, Carl Banks, and Phil Simms in the third quarter. He said he could have went back in the game if he could, so he's okay. Let's hear from Drew Lock downstairs in the locker room after the game.
I'm really not sure. Someone's picking me up. We're going to go get it looked at tomorrow. So,
does it seem serious, or is it just a tweak?
I think it's just a tweak. It's one of those deals. Getting used to getting hit again. So.
Yeah, Joe said on the broadcast, he was talking, you were okay, probably could have went back into the
Yeah, I don't. If they needed me to go back in, I could have gone back in. So, just precaution stuff, and we're gonna get it looked at.
What did you think of your performance today?
Oh, could have been better. Getting in the swing of things, get back out there. Looking forward to next week, playing a little better. So, could have had a better performance tonight, without a doubt. But you live and you learn. It's football. Learn from it, get better, and come out and play better next week.
In case you missed that, the question was, how do you think you played today? And the answer was, oh, it could have been better. Well, JC, you don't have to say it for him.
Yeah, he said it. He said it. We definitely need a better performance out of Drew Lock. The Giants went ahead and signed him. They gave him a little money to go ahead and be the QB2 here, But I think my boy Tommy DeVito got something to say about that, which is good. It's great competition. Which is good for the game, and Drew Lock definitely has to have a better performance next time he steps up.
Obviously the interception, they didn't ask him about the play specifically. It just looked like
it was a rough one.
It just like he didn't see the safety there. And then we talked about it this morning about how he likes to try to hit those in cuts into like small spaces. Well, that space was a little bit bit too small.
That was not a good
and
pass.
it went the other way. So.
Yeah. Well, he's going to learn. He's a pro. He's been in the league for a few years now.
Yeah, fans shouldn't freak out about an interception in the first preseason game.
And it's good to get that out the way now.
Correct.
And hopefully we don't have to see him at all.
Yeah, correct. You hope Daniel Jones plays all 17 games.
Absolutely,
100%.
but we look for him to improve because we will see him again in the preseason for sure.
Two other things Brian Dable said I thought was interesting. Cordell Flott suffered a quad injury against Detroit. Didn't give an idea of a timetable on him, so that could theoretically in practice next week give another corner a chance to step in there with the ones and do a little something if he's not back and ready. We'll have to see what happens with that. And he also basically said that, look, we played all our rookies and second-year guys. He thought this was valuable playing time. And, talking to him today, JC, he really seemed to put a lot of importance on these preseason games, and he thinks getting reps for all his players this preseason so they're ready to go to start the year. I almost got the I'm not messing around vibe anymore. Yeah. Like, I'm playing these guys, and we're going to be ready to go for the regular season, risks be damned.
And that's what it is. You have to be ready for the regular season. And how it's slated nowadays with the 3 preseason games and the starters only getting very limited snaps in the preseason, I think those practices that they have against the Lions this week were invaluable. Daniel Jones got a lot of reps. He didn't take no reps basically at all during the whole preseason. But when the Lions came in town, he got real reps with real people rushing him. Of course, they're not going to hit the quarterback, but he felt the heat.
Yeah,
he had to move up in the
ball got hit out of his hands that one time.
That's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. But he was, he was in a real football situation without the end result of him actually getting sacked or tackled. But that's great and invaluable experience.
And again, when I said what I said, folks, they're not going to throw guys out there if they're banged up and risk injury to guys that are banged up in the preseason. But if guys are healthy, Brian Dable wants to make sure they're ready for the regular season.
Absolutely.
So I think you could think about that as you move forward here, figuring out who's going to play in what games. The other thing that he mentioned, I can't imagine Brian Dable was happy about the penalties in this game. Far too many penalties, offensive holding penalties, things like that. And look, you're going to get that in the first preseason game. Guys haven't tackled in a while. Some of the stuff is coming back. But you never want to see a lot of yellow flags on the field.
No, not at all, because I know Dayball, he wants a disciplined team. He wants a smart, physical, disciplined team with grit, right? We understand that. Penalties, it's not discipline, and there was a lot of errors today, but it is the first preseason game. It is the first time to actually, having 4 quarters of football where you have to focus, and it's not just, a 2-hour practice where you're getting a couple reps here, a couple reps there, and it's not that much, but being out here for 3 hours and playing a football game, you have to have a level of focus, and you cannot replicate it until you get into a game.
Finally, Michael Gabriel, the Giants special teams coach. Brian Dable very effusive in his praise for him, how organized he was getting guys on the field. The Giants did have a defensive play where they had 12 guys on the field, but they had all their guys on the field for all their special teams plays. They had a couple holding penalties on special teams. The Lions had a procedural penalty on the kickoff. The Giants did not. They seemed to be ready to go for that. And Graham Gano, the Giants kicker, he spoke after the game about the new kickoff rule and how he thought it worked out in tonight's game. Let's listen in.
Close collisions and people falling into each other's knees and whatnot at the point of attack, but
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's a heck of a lot easier for kickers, I mean, in my opinion, than put the ball inside the 20.
Yours went to the goal line, and so if he let it go, then it could have bounced in the end zone and been back into the 30. Were you trying to kick it? This is a crazy question. Were you trying to kick it shorter than that?
No, I hit it right where
you did.
Yeah.
You wanted to get it.
I never hit it in places that I'm not intending to, you know?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't quote me on that. I'm just kidding.
Let's put that on sports.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was where we were looking to kick it. So I think it gave our guys a good chance to cover, and you know, it's just something new. Everybody's trying different things. I think as the weeks go on, you know, it's a copycat league, so you know, you'll see what other teams are doing. They'll see what we're doing, and guys will just try to make the most of it.
From your vantage point on the field, did it look like their guy slipped, or was he trying to do like a double hop?
I don't know. I don't really watch other guys. To be honest, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Graham Gano there sounded like Vince Vaughn before the football game at Wedding Crashers. I was high school All-State. I could put the ball wherever I want. I'll make it rain up in here. Graham Gano showing the confidence. I never put the ball where I don't want it to go. I love it.
You got to represent, man. That's class of 09 right there.
That's
my
great.
fellow class of 09.
Oh, was he really?
Right there. Yes, sir.
He might be the only guy left from the class of 09.
You might be right, too.
Your thoughts on what you saw for the kickoff role as a former special teams ace?
Well, it was interesting. The first kickoff with the Lions, what was that? Like, they kicked the ball, like nobody moved, like somebody moved early. The Lions, comparatively to the Giants, the Giants did a lot better job throughout the entirety of the game on special teams than the Lions. But the thing is, I want to see what it really looks like in real games multiple times, because this is the first time I ever seen a kickoff where basically everybody's in the line and everybody is within about 5 to 7 yards. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a run play almost, where you got to figure out where that hole is. And the guy's going to be a little bit more tighter. There's not going to be a lot of space. So I think the return game is going to be a little bit different.
And you can put bigger guys to block in there too, right?
Bigger guys to block. I think running backs might be featured a little bit more than just like average returners. When I say average, like receivers and corners.
We saw the Giants use Isaiah McKenzie back there. I don't think we saw Gunnar back there on kicks today, right? We saw him on punts but not kicks. And then we saw Tyrone Tracy back there on kicks as well.
But that's the thing. And then also on the kickoff side of it, less receivers, less offensive guys, I believe. More defensive guys, more linebackers, more defensive ends, pass rushers, more safeties, because guys that need to shed, get off blocks, and you're not just running past people anymore. You got to get off a block now.
Giants football is brought to you by your local Ford stores. One engine drives this team. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Ford, official truck of the Giants. Final thoughts from Jonathan Casillas. We look ahead to the game next week against Houston. That and more when we wrap up right after this.
You're listening to Giants Extra Point on the WFAN Giants Radio Network.
This is Andrew Thomas, and you're listening to the radio home of Big Blue, The Fan, WFAN and WFAN FM, New York.
Run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K racing kids run presented by Quest on Saturday, September 7th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt. After the race, stay for a festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Will you be at the 5K run? Are you one of those Giants legends?
Maybe.
Register now at Giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Yeah, you were always great in the community as a player, and you still do it as an alumni. That's why I thought you might be one of the guys that are there.
Yeah, running is not my thing.
I'm not sure if you want to run or walk in August heat in the Meadowlands parking lot, though. I'm not sure that seems like something that would be up your alley, especially still trying to come back from that Achilles. I don't want you to try to re-aggravate that thing. All right, JC, either final thoughts on the game, or now what are you looking for heading into the second preseason game against Houston, which will be next Saturday, 1 p.m. kick, noon pregame show?
Okay. Well, first off, this game, I think the Giants, they imposed their will on a very physical football team. You know, and, of course, all the starters didn't play, of course. But they still have that culture that they built over there, and the Giants are trying to figure out exactly what their culture is. And I think they showed it a little bit today, and it was some backups, but it's still the soul of the team. What is your soul of your team? What's the culture of the team? And I think they showed it today. They out-physical the physical team with the physical head coach, and they did it for 4 quarters. They did it the whole game, and I like that. And I think they're going to build off it. Next week, I think we're going to have a lot more starters playing. I think they're going to play, a little bit longer than probably normal. It might be the only game that we can actually see the starters next week. So I'm definitely looking forward to see who's out there playing next week and if they can continue what they did this week to a really good and physical Detroit Lions team.
JC, we'll talk to you next Saturday.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it, man. That's Jonathan Casillas. I'm John Schmeelk. Folks, even though our next game is until the following Saturday, and not 2 days from now, the Saturday after that, so 9 days, there's a lot of content on Giants.com and the Giants mobile app and the Giants YouTube channel you should check out. Giants Huddle Podcast, Rapid Reaction with the Tino and Howard Cross. If it's not up there already, it will be shortly. And then we have Big Blue Kickoff Live, which is still live every day in the Giants app and Giants.com at 1 p.m. All the archives are also on podcast platforms. Just search for Big Blue Kickoff Live. Search for Giants Huddle. Those are our 2 main podcasts. Or, of course, just go to the Giants app or Giants.com/podcast. And we are live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Paul Latino and I will recap this game. By then, I should have rewatched this game on tape, and we will have everything that happened for you. So make sure you tune in to Big Blue Kickoff, again, 1 p.m. on Friday, and every weekday on Giants.com and the Giants mobile app. Giants Extra Point was brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made ready for Giants fans. Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Peerless Boilers, the world's best boilers. And by Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. Learn more at moodys.com. Again, we have a little bit of a break here. We have a Thursday game into a Saturday game. So our next broadcast will be against the Houston Texans, preseason game number 2 in Houston. It'll be August 17th, a Saturday, 1 p.m. kick, noon pregame show right here on WFAN. For Jonathan Casillas, for Chris Carino, for Sean O'Hara, for Paul Dottino, and our entire crew who did a wonderful job today. It's great to be back with you guys for another season of Giants football. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on the 17th when the Giants take on the Texans. See you later.
Thank you.